Today I'm going to teach you 2 different ways to grow cucumbers up a trellis. It's going to be super fun, super delicious, super inspiring. So let's dig in. Welcome to Gardenary. My name is Nicole Burke and I'm the owner of Gardenary. Garden plus ordinary equals Gardenary. So whether you're a beginner gardener or a garden pro ready to become a garden coach or somewhere in between, Gardenary is here for you. So be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell so you know every single time we drop a new video. And now get inspired to grow your own delicious cucumbers up a trellis in 2 ways. All right, let's get started by talking about cucumbers in general. They are in the cucurbit family and they like to grow when there is no threat of frost. So in general, you're going to be growing these right in the middle of the summer, and you can vary your varieties that you're growing based on how hot it is where you live. So there are 2 simple ways to get started with cucumbers up a trellis. The first is to buy plants. So I like to say, or to start plants yourself indoors. So you can either grow these under lights in your own little nursery if you have a little simple setup, or you can grow plants under lights, you can do that. Or you can start your seeds directly in the ground. Now in general, when I talk about growing cucurbits, I almost always tell people to start with the seeds. What I found over the years is that when I start a plant from seed and a plant from a seedling in the cucurbit family, my seed started, my direct seeded plant, ends up over time catching up and passing the one that was grown as a seedling indoors and then transplanted. But some people just like to feel like they're ahead of the game and like to get started faster. So I'm going to be honest, I did not grow these indoors myself. I bought these from my favorite local grower. I trust the way they grow. They grow very locally and organically. And like I say, do as I say, not as I did. So these should have been planted out like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe even 3 weeks ago. But I've been waiting to make this video for you. So they've just been patiently waiting in their tiny little cell pack. So in general, you'd want to transplant these when they're more like 2-3 inches. Basically, once you get your first good true leaves and it's warm enough outdoors and there's no threat of frost, you want to move these out to the garden space. So let's walk through the steps to grow, to plant with a seedling. Now, the situation we have here is there are actually 2 plants here growing in one little seedling space. So you have 2 options here. First of all, this is no bueno in terms of long-term growth, because this is like my 2 girls that share a bedroom. It's not good, right? So the resources are gonna run out when these 2 plants are this close together. So at this stage, you could try your luck and gingerly try to pull these apart. It's gonna be kind of like pulling apart Siamese twins. Or what you can do is take some pruners and just literally cut it off, cut one of the ones off that looks, say, less healthy than the other one. That's always a hard call to make, but you could do that. Just cut it off right here at the root level and then just plant the healthier one. Now, I love to try my luck. You guys know that about me. So I'm just gonna see if I can slowly pull these apart. Now, there's obviously gonna be a little bit of root damage in doing that. But now I've got my 2 seedlings, all right? So these I'm gonna plant, I've got 4 rungs on my obelisk trellis. So I'm gonna plant one seedling along each rung. So I'm gonna put it as close as possible because the goal is that the vine is gonna literally travel this all the way up. So I'm gonna dig a hole. And what you wanna do when you're digging a hole for this is you wanna make it pretty wide. And I'm even gonna go a little bit deeper than the plant is because I'm so late in getting this transplanted. So I'm gonna put it down in there pretty deep. And because this is an older cucumber, and also because, it's a pretty warm day, I'm gonna go ahead and add some water to the planting hole before I even cover it up. So then we're going to add the soil right around the base of the plant. And one thing that would be great to do right here, honestly, is just put a little pile of compost around it too, just to give it some extra food. And then we're gonna give it a really nice deep water because this plant, I'm gonna be honest, is gonna struggle to to survive over the next few days, mostly because it's warm and the plant is pretty, mature to be transplanted. So that is one way you can put cucumbers directly onto a trellis. You either started it indoors yourself or you buy a start from a nursery. Like I said, that's the more challenging, that's kind of the that's playing your luck a little bit if you try to do it that way. But if it works out, I will end up with 2 really great plants that I got a jump start on the season with, and we'll just see what happens, right? So I'm gonna hurry up and do this other one too, because I separated it, the last thing I wanna do is leave it sitting out in the weather, because this little girl is probably like, where did my sister go? Because she just got separated. All right, when I do plant that, I don't have pruners with me, but you do want to pinch off any kind of old leaf because this is going to drain the energy from the plant, and we want all the energy to go to the roots and the leaves. All right, the second way that you can put cucumbers to grow in a trellis is the simplest, the fastest, the cheapest. It's with planting seeds. Direct seeding is what we call this. And to me, this is the best and easiest way to grow cucumbers. So I have 4 varieties here. I have miniature white, I have Bait Alpha, I have Chicago pickling, fitting, because I live in Chicago, or kind of, sort of, near Chicago, and Suyo Long. This is a great variety to do if you live in a warmer climate where it gets super hot in the summer. So all you have to do to plant by seed is, it's not nearly as trying, it's not nearly as challenging, and it's also not nearly as expensive. So you're literally, now the package will always tell you to plant 2 to 3 seeds in one spot, but what I've found is if I plant a really reliable seed company like Baker Creek, almost all their seeds always germinate. So I rarely put more than 1 seed in any planting hole. So to do this, I'm just gonna go to the next rung. So I've already got cucumbers at 3 out of 4 of the rungs. So I'm just gonna take my hand, or I can take my little, shovel here. Now the general rule, my hands are so dirty, is to plant a seed no more than twice the depth of the width of the seed. So you can see how wide this seed is. We're gonna plant it no more than twice the depth. Let's see if this says, so they tell us 1/2 inch is what the package recommends. So I'd say that's about right? So 1/2 inch is barely anything. In other words, you don't need to bury it very deep. A lot of times people, here, I'm gonna plant it here so you can see it better. A lot of times people will plant seeds super deep, they never come up, and they think, they think it's the seed's fault. But it's actually, you don't want to really ask the seed to have to do very much. So I'm just gonna lay it right there and just barely cover it, because we only want 1/2 inch of soil over it. Then I'm gonna water that in and keep it well watered day after day until it starts to come up. And that is really all you have to do to get started growing cucumbers up a trellis. You can either transplant some seedlings that were started indoors by you or by a local grower, or you can do the fastest, easiest, least expensive, and I think most successful route just by direct seeding as soon as the weather is warm enough. All right, so stay tuned to find out what happens to my cucumbers this season. We'll see if these ladies do better or if the direct seeded variety does better. I can't wait to find out. How about you? All right, if you are ready to bring your gardening to the next level, you gotta check out the Green Thumb quiz. The link to the quiz is right below this video. As soon as you take it, the results are gonna tell you where we think you are in the garden journey right now. You can decide if we're right or not, and we'll give you great resources to help you grow to the next level. Thanks so much for bringing back the kitchen garden with me. I'll see you next time.